this is the Global Digest think tank group. Why don't you introduce briefly to our audience?
I currently work at Vadvani Foundation, a vertical called Vadvani Center for Government Digital Transformation. What it basically does is it provides technology policy advocacy to Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology of India. At the same time, we also provide technology policy advocacy to the state governments as well as with the other ministries. Earlier to this, I worked with numerous research organizations like Center for Development Policy and Practice, where I was heading the technology policy and research on misinformation and etc. And I've also worked with Center for Security Studies, New Delhi, where I was working more on technology, the intersection of digital technologies and security studies. So that's brief about me.
So you are
So
based in
I'm
New
happy to be
Delhi
here.
or you based in which city?
I am based in Hyderabad, but my work varies from numerous cities. I worked in Delhi, Bangalore, and also Hyderabad.
According to based on your research, how did you see, artificial intelligence role, AI role in geopolitics?
Well, most of the scholars and experts tend to say that AI is going to be the next hotspot of geopolitics. It might be or might not. One of the major reasons for my assertion is that AI is not a standalone technology. It has to be combined with various digital technologies and also other emerging technologies to make it more useful and also to make it more practical. For example, AI has to be merged with weapons technology, that is sensors and also the ammunition systems and also the guidance systems, so that you can get a final useful product. So standalone AI technology cannot bring revolutions, but however, if AI is combined with many other technologies, it has definitely huge impact on all socioeconomic activities. But again, I'm saying that AI might or might not be the hotspot for geopolitics because the fundamentals for AI might be the hotspot for geopolitics, like semiconductor chipsets or the availability of uh, the basic resources to build or to construct all these chips or even the batteries or even the basic theoretical knowledge that will push forward the AI development. All these will make up for the foundations that will again convert into hotspots of geopolitics. And we should also not forget about other technologies like blockchain and quantum computing, which might be the next hotspots also alongside the AI.
So, did India produce semiconductor, or what's the most significant AI in India?
No, if you ask that question, it's really a broad question. What's the significant AI progress in India? Uh,
Compared
I
to
would
other
say there
countries,
is,
your unique things.
to be honest, there is no unique AI development per se for India because all the major developments and all the major breakthroughs are from Google and all from Meta and perhaps from China or perhaps from United States government. But AI is leveraging, I mean, India is leveraging artificial intelligence and associated technologies to come up with possible solutions that would support public delivery systems, that would support or enhance the socioeconomic activities and also uh, club together the regional affiliations on technology. That's one thing India is doing, I would say.
You have any competition on AI with China or other regional countries?
What you meant was if India has any competition with China regarding AI, or India has any competition uh, regarding artificial intelligence within the region. Straightforward answer is there is no competition between China and India regarding AI because the competition is elsewhere. The competition is between China and the United States. They have the majority platforms that caters to billions of people, the billions of market. But India doesn't have a platform or a funding that is catering to breakthrough of AI technology. That's one. But when it comes to region like South Asia and also uh, per se Asia, India fares pretty far ahead when it comes to AI capabilities and the use cases of AI. Even if you look at data regulations, the privacy regulations, and also the usage of digital payment systems or digital public infrastructure, India fares top when you compare to the region, and of course, and also the world. Uh, if I may say, yes, it can be comparable to China.
So your point is India is not involved in the race about AI competition because India doesn't have market or not platform to to compete AI market. Which means you have knowledge technology. India is not able to or not involved in that market competition. It's something like that.
No, no, definitely not that situation because India is actively engaged in the AI market competition also. When you specifically talk about implementing uh, digital technologies and digital services at large scale, India is forefront. Even United States companies haven't put out digital payment systems right now, but India has done it for across the population. Examples are digital payment systems, which Google also uses as Google Pay. There are multiple private players like PhonePe and Paytm and all the banks which are taking advantage of United Payments interface, which is digital public infrastructure, and they are rolling out the digital services to public. Such system has not been seen even with the United States. So in that scenario, India is having a fair good or giving a fair good competition in the digital market. And when you specifically talk about the usage of artificial intelligence, I would say the usage of AI is pretty much rampant in the pharmaceutical sector that has a strong competition to United States pharmaceutical sector, not just in the development of new drugs, but also in quickly developing the existing drugs or quickly developing the drugs for all the endemics and pandemic. So that's where the competition for India is, and that's where India is acing the competition. But at the same time, I would say, uh, from the report of Stanford University's HAI 2023-2022 reports, I would say that in the research of AI and in the implementation of AI, China and United States are ranked the top, and India is perhaps ranked at 7, which is good position given the conditions, socio-economic conditions, and the distribution of resources that India has to look into. So, if all these aspects are taken into consideration, I would say India is doing fair bit of its play in the AI race in the global market.
So you said India and US, for example, competition, pharmacy, medicine product. Maybe because India did not follow, copyright or those medical, copyright, which means you did not need to follow those copyright. India government did not want to sign for international copyright, and that's doesn't binding India to punish if they production pharmacy any products without permission from those original country. You mean in that sense it can be competition because you did not involve in intellectual property right?
Now, if
Or
you bring that in the picture, intellectual properties are of two types. One is intellectual property catering to the final product, but not the process, and one caters to the process, but not the product. So when an IP is filed for the product, if the process is reversed, process is changed, they're not going to get the same product. They're going to get a different product altogether, because that depends upon on what system the API has been filed. Is it the product or the system? If it is on the product, it is definitely not correct to copy the product. But if the process is open, you can take the process. At the same time, if the IP is filed on the process, the product can be taken leverage of. So it is all the fair game.
I mean,
And
I'm not.
and of course, all the international covenants and all the international organizations, they cannot enforce anything, because they are just uh, a body that can say that we have a consensus on something, we have a consensus on A, B, and C. There is no enforcement right even for the UN and even for the International Court of Justice.
No,
That's how the international
I'm
order is
not
working.
blaming India because I mean the without copyright international intellectual property right. Uh, India intention is the product can benefit to the poor people and a lot of undeveloped country. That is very good for the underdeveloped countries and those poor
I
people.
was just adding
That
some
IP
information to
and
the point.
copyright is only advantage for developed country in that sense. I mean that is understandable India role for producing primacy for all the people. Otherwise, it will be very expensive if you product under copyright, intellectual property right. All poor country cannot afford it. So I mean, not only India, China also did a lot of, without copyright or intellectual property right. They invented, they copied and produced. But in China case, they enter international market, some kind of American and China agreement or kind of permission to China, even though not fully or not properly, but they can access, China can sell or export to America, So that India and China may be a bit different because India, that may be also related to isn't foreign policy because India regime did not want to, very open foreign policy that will be, difficult to do such kind of international trading, exporting.
And if you talk more about the AI and geopolitics, if I would say the competition is, or I can categorize the competition into four. One category I would specify is the economic development, the usage of AI within the economic development. That's the tussle all the countries across the world are into. And the second category is the new world order, the emergence of new world order, who gets the handle of the development of AI technology and also the deployment of it in various different countries. The third category I would say is the grip on psychological control of the societies across the world. If one handles or if one has the control over the AI product or the AI system that has been deployed in numerous countries, that means the recommendation algorithms do recommend prerequisite sites or prerequisite information to the public, which in turn tunes their behaviors and decision making processes. That's how the third category is the psychological control. And the fourth category that I would put is in knowledge generation. With all the information dissipation, if that itself is controlled by the algorithmic recommendations, even the journal articles will be skewed and biased. And these journal articles, this is for just an example. And if these articles are read by researchers and produce their research output, thinking that is a fair method that they have adopted, but behind the lines, the search engine itself is biased, and that is how one can have the control over knowledge production. So I would categorize the AI and geopolitics into these four categories. What do you say?
I see. What about cyber security? India is doing very well about cyber security.
Yes, I think every country uh, above a certain level is doing their fair bit in ensuring cyber security processes for all the systems, not just the physical systems, but also the virtual systems as well. Uh, Recently, there are numerous policies and laws that have been rolled out by the central government. For example, the DPDP, it's an abbreviation for Digital Data Protection Act, and also intermediary rules for all the OTT platforms and also the websites that are involved in broadcasting information. There are strict rules and regulations how they store data, and much stricter data regulations are for the financial companies or in all the companies or groups or persons handling the financial data. The data cannot be exported out of the country when it comes to the financial terms, and that there are laid out procedures for the safeguarding, securing, and also transmitting the data from one server to other server or from one party to other party. And also, there is a centralized architecture which can be used by account aggregators or companies. So that means that the architecture is secured by the government itself, leaving very few places or few gaps for vulnerabilities. So I would say India is doing decent. At the same time, I would say it has to do much lot when we compare the same to United States, Europe, and also or with China. It has
So,
long way to go.
so India cyber security law, how it is?
India's cybersecurity law is the old one, and the new one. In India, cybersecurity law has been amended multiple times, and the intermediaries rules that I've spoken about earlier just now is also an amendment in addition to the IT Act 2000. So I would say they are strengthening it step by step, and it also handles how uh, security forces should handle the data, and also how personal data has to be handled. Also, how the data has to be handled by police forces and also political parties and companies within the political boundaries of India. So everything has been defined within the Act and the amendments that have been added periodically to that. But combining all of them and also taking into account the dynamic changes of technology, a new Act is promulgated. The bill is promulgated, not yet put into the parliament, and hopefully, post elections there will be one. That's what even I can say.
See, I mean, the party who can access the data, all this information, they can be advantage.
Yes, that's being done by every political entity, India and also outside India. So that's a problem of the world. We need to come up with misinformation policies, frameworks to control misinformation. We need to probably understand the new society, which is a combination of digital landscapes and also the physical landscapes. Right now, the understanding of social and the understanding of society is only from the viewpoint of the physical presence, not the virtual presence. Even in our social science researchers, the physical presence is considered social. But how about a hybrid social? Can we construct a new scenario where the definition of society itself has digital space and also physical space? That's that's the whole theoretical debate and philosophical debate what can get into, but that's where the world is moving.
But do you have any cyber attack or uh, those things happen from other country? I don't know, Pakistan or China or Russia, any, you know, who against India? Because last time there was Chinese uh, cyber attack in New Zealand parliament, it is in the news. they
The recent one, yes.
they they did cyber attacks. So is there any India has facing such kind of cyber attack or any challenging?
Let me speak as an analyst, a third party observing from outside, observing the happenings on cyber attacks across the world and also India. So, from that perspective, I would say there might be numerous cyber attacks on India. Some might be disclosed, some might not be disclosed. But I would not say there are no cyber attacks, and I would not say that India is vacuumed itself and it is devoid of all the attacks. No, definitely not. Each and every day, architectures are changing, both from the side of government and also the hackers. Cyber attacks are bound to happen, retaliation is bound to happen. That's like a usual process or the new normal for the governance and security order.
How can you identify? You have any knowledge about cyber security issue?
Any analyst, to be frank, any analyst from outside government cannot understand or cannot know about the issues or the attacks that have been done. So, what I can say is there can be numerous cyber attacks from all the countries. And as you said, asked, what about the economic consequences from both China and Pakistan regarding the cyberspace? I would say from Pakistan, there is no such economic damage that can be done or economic competition within this cyberspace. But from China, there can be a fierce competition in the space of cyber world because engineers or companies from China are well equipped and they are a decade ahead when you compare to the companies and engineers of India. So if India wants to tackle or if India wants to put up the same competition to China, then it has to face the fierce economic inroads of China into India that is already there. Uh, in order to tackle that, one needs to develop indigenous platforms, indigenous technologies, and I think India is looking into that. To be honest, it is a long road, and there has to have numerous investment related policies and also backing the indigenous technology products. That's
So
huge task to
you
be
can
done.
say India doesn't have much allowed, cyber security issue or regulation on cyber security. You said it's there a long way to go, something like
No,
that.
the economic competition and economic uptake is a long way to go. But
I
as
see.
far as the security policies and cybersecurity frameworks are considered, I would say India is well situated and at the equal level when compared to United States or China.
India so far you don't have any cyber security challenge or people Indian government did not aware.
No, if you ask me that, India or any country will definitely have cybersecurity challenges because Indian policies and frameworks are not even equipped to tackle the AI range attacks or quantum computing range attacks. Just because quantum computing is not yet come into the market and it has just been proven to be a suitable technology for encrypted communications, it is probably in the near future there will be new frameworks and policies that will align to the new cybersecurity apparatus. So issues will always be there, and that is how the building up of new policies and frameworks can move forward. I basically work on technology policy. So I worked on the policies of United States, China, EU, and I briefly looked into Sri Lankan policies.
Thank you, Arun, for today.
Thank you for hosting me.